On the day I had arranged with my boyfriend of 7 years to try on wedding dresses, I arrived at the bridal shop filled with joy, but unexpectedly, I overheard a conversation between him and his friend. "Yesterday, you went to the Civil Affairs Bureau with Julia to get your marriage certificate. And today you're bringing Stella Hayes to try on wedding dresses. Aren't you afraid Stella will find out and make a scene?" He looked helpless and said hoarsely, "My brother died in a car accident. Julia is carrying his child. If I don't take responsibility and marry her, how will she and the child survive as a widow and orphan? I will spend my whole life making it up to Stella. Keep your mouth shut. She must never know about this." My heart turned to ashes as I turned and scheduled an abortion at the hospital. Since he couldn't give me and our child a complete family, then perhaps it's better not to have it at all. Their conversation was like the biting cold of winter, instantly extinguishing all the joy I'd felt upon receiving the pregnancy test results. This morning, I woke up early and went to the hospital to get my test results. I had planned to come to the bridal shop to personally share the good news with him, but I never expected he would hit me with such a devastating blow first. If he's already registered a marriage with someone else, then why is he still planning a wedding with me? Before I could even begin to figure out the answer to that question, the bridal shop's designer approached me, saying, "Ms. Hayes, the wedding dress Mr. Ramsey specially ordered for you has arrived. You can go try it on now." Hearing this, I was momentarily stunned. Owen Ramsey values this wedding more than anyone else. The wedding rings and bridal gown were all personally designed by him based on my preferences and meticulously supervised during production. Inside the ring's band, several words are inlaid: "Devoted in love, unwavering in affection." Feeling sorry that he had to handle wedding preparations after work, I suggested hiring a designer to take care of everything. But he shook his head and refused, saying, "Designing it myself better represents my feelings. I want you to think of me whenever you see these things in the future." When people around us learned about this, they all praised him, saying he would surely become an excellent husband and that I was lucky to have met him. But who would have known that his love for me would become so ironic? I composed myself and walked toward the fitting room where the wedding dress was, only to see a familiar figure. Julia heard the server directing me and turned to look at me with a smile. "Stella, you're finally here. Come see how beautiful your wedding dress is." Her expression was perfectly natural as she spoke, just like a caring older sister. Owen's older brother was still alive when we had meals together a few times. And I also had quite a few interactions with Julia. In the past, thinking she would be my future sister-in-law, I would share anything good with her, just to maintain a good relationship between future sisters-in-law. If I hadn't just overheard Owen and his friend's conversation, I wouldn't have imagined she would become an insurmountable obstacle between Owen and me. Recalling their words just now, I instinctively glanced at her still flat belly, feeling a surge of bitterness in my heart. No matter what happens, she always has a harbor to rely on behind her, but my child and I don't. With a gloomy expression, I looked at the exquisitely beautiful wedding dress and said, "It's truly stunning. Would you like to try it on?" As the words fell, an incredulous voice was heard, "Stella, what are you talking about? This is your wedding dress. How can you let someone else try it on?" Owen approached with mild anger, his eyes filled with disapproval as he looked at me. My expression remained unchanged, utterly calm. "What's the big deal? I heard Julia didn't even get to wear a wedding dress when she married your brother. Trying it on now would just make up for that regret. Their marriage was very hasty. They just got the certificate without holding a wedding ceremony. Now, Owen has given her the title of wife. Then I'll help fulfill her regret of not having a wedding ceremony." Julia was visibly moved by my words. After all, no girl has never fantasized about being a beautiful bride. Perhaps Owen also thought what I said was right, as his expression changed slightly, but he didn't say anything more. Julia noticed his softened expression and hesitated for a moment before tentatively asking, "Can I really give it a try?" I nodded and had someone help her put on the wedding dress. Owen had already put on his groom's suit. Seeing Julia go change into her wedding dress, he thought about changing out of his suit as well. But I reached out and stopped him. "Julia is pregnant and finds everything inconvenient. If you leave, what if something happens to her?" Hearing this, He dismissed the idea and stood quietly by my side to wait, yet a trace of worry flickered in his eyes, noticing the shift in his mood. A mocking smile curled at the corners of my lips. Before long, Julia emerged, guided by the staff. She wasn't yet showing, and her figure was similar to mine. The wedding dress fit her perfectly, without a single gap. Julia couldn't hide her delight, feigning modesty as she asked, "Owen, do I look good in this?" Hearing her words, Owen, whose gaze had been fixed intently on her, came back to his senses and responded with a soft "hmm." The next second, another staff member approached. Upon seeing this, they couldn't help but exclaim, "The wedding dress looks absolutely stunning on you. You two are truly the most perfect bride and groom I've ever seen." As these words were spoken, the expressions of everyone present subtly shifted. Julia glanced at Owen uneasily before forcing a smile and explaining, "No, you misunderstood." Before she could finish, I clapped my hands and sincerely exclaimed, "It truly suits you, Julia. This wedding dress is a perfect match for you, a match made in heaven. How could something so beautiful not be shared for everyone to admire?" As the words left my mouth, Owen looked at me with disbelief in his eyes. After all, I've always been very particular about others touching my things, especially something as meaningful as a wedding dress. Yet now, not only did I let her try it on, but I also didn't hesitate to praise her. "Stella, you," I blinked and looked at him. "All right, I was just saying. I suddenly remembered there's unfinished work I need to handle, so I'm in a hurry to get back to the office. I won't disturb you any further." With that, I walked straight toward the bridal shop's entrance. Owen saw this and wanted to follow, but Julia held him back. As I walked toward the door and glanced inside, I happened to see Owen supporting her as they walked toward the fitting room. His support was careful, his gaze never leaving her for a moment, as if with her there. His eyes could hold no one else. At that moment, I felt somewhat dazed. Did he marry her out of a sense of duty, as he claimed, or did he truly love her? I couldn't find the answer, nor did I want to humiliate myself by asking. The next day, I went to the hospital as scheduled for the pre-surgery checkup. When the doctor asked about the child's father, I said, "He's busy with work and doesn't have time to accompany me." When I woke up in the morning, I thought about telling him about this. But I called him several times, and not once did he answer. After the surgery, my face lost its color, and I weakly leaned against the wall as I walked out of the hospital. As I walked into the hospital lobby, I unexpectedly saw Owen accompanying Julia for her prenatal checkup. They both froze in surprise when they saw me. Owen looked startled and asked with concern, "Are you feeling unwell? Why did you come to the hospital alone?" Before I could respond, Julia spoke first. "Stella, don't take your health for granted just because you're young. No matter how busy work gets, you must take care of yourself. Don't make Owen worry about you." Her tone carried a weight of earnest advice, yet beneath it, one could faintly detect a hint of detachment. I pressed my lips together and gave a quiet millimeter, then said, "I've finished my checkup. I can leave after getting the medicine. You two should go ahead for your prenatal appointment." Owen looked at me with concern in his eyes. Just as he was about to step toward me, Julia pulled him back. "Owen, it's almost our turn. Let's go over first," she said, deliberately rubbing her belly with a pained expression. "I don't know if it's because I've been worrying too much lately, but my stomach has been feeling a bit off. I hope it won't affect the baby." She emphasized the word baby. Owen dispelled the worry in his eyes and said apologetically, "Stella, you go back first. I'll come find you after I accompany Julia to finish her checkup." In the past, when his elder brother was still around, he always addressed Julia respectfully as sister-in-law, but now, he calls her so intimately, watching the three of them as a family. I clearly realized that I had become the true outsider among them. The man who once promised to love me for a lifetime no longer has me in his heart. I remember how he used to put me first no matter what happened. My eyes welled up with bitterness as I choked out, "Fine, go ahead." On the way home, I gazed at the familiar scenery flashing by outside the car window, memories of our time together flickering through my mind. I've known Owen since high school. Back then, he was my deskmate. He was a quiet bookworm. While I was lively and active, my parents were busy with work and worried I couldn't take care of myself, so they made me live on campus. I always complained that the cafeteria breakfast wasn't tasty. So I kept pestering him to bring me breakfast from outside. He was helpless but always indulged me, and this routine lasted for 3 years. After graduating from high school, we tacitly chose the same university, as old classmates who've known each other for 3 years. I can't help but seek comfort from him in unfamiliar environments. I'm used to turning to him whenever something comes up, and he never tires of helping me solve problems. Many times my mom says I shouldn't trouble others like this. I didn't take it seriously and relayed her words to Owen. At that moment, he put down his pen and casually remarked, "Do you really think I'm some kind of pushover, Stella? If I didn't like you, I wouldn't bother with you at all." His affection for me was superficial. I had known that for a long time. So I indulged in his kindness without restraint. Later, after we got together, his love for me became even more unconcealed. As long as he's here, I can stay carefree forever. My mom knows all he's done for me and always teases me, saying the hardest thing I've ever faced in life is just going to work. But now I think she was wrong. The hardest thing I've ever faced wasn't going to work, but the person I like married someone else. Yet I was the last to know. Recalling the past, my eyes turned red from crying. Seeing this, the driver uncle handed me a tissue and comforted me. "Young lady, there's no hurdle in this world that can't be overcome. Always look forward. Good luck is waiting for you ahead." I took the paper, choking back tears as I thanked them. After getting out of the car and paying the fare, I was about to chat with my friend when I absent-mindedly clicked into the social media feed. Only then did I see Julia's new post from 5 minutes ago. She had shared an ultrasound image and a photo of Owen looking down at the test report, captioned, "Hurry up and come out. Little one, Mom and Dad can't wait to meet you." Scroll down. The first comment is from Owen's mom. She said, "Grandma is also looking forward to it. I can't wait to see my big grandson." The comments section is uniformly filled with Ramsey family members. From their comments, it seems they all know about Owen marrying Julia. Thinking back to the other day when I went to Ramsey's house, the kindness the Ramsey family showed me, I just find it utterly ridiculous. It's hard for me not to think that when I talked about the wedding at Ramsey's house, they were all secretly laughing at me. My boyfriend married someone else. While I was still eagerly anticipating our sham wedding, I wiped away the tears at the corner of my eye and went home. Before Owen and I set a wedding date, Ramsey's family had already given the traditional betrothal gifts and dowry. As soon as I got home, I packed everything they had sent into cardboard boxes. On the day of the wedding, I will return everything they sent. From then on, I will have no further connection with the Ramsey family. After the abortion, my body was very weak, so I simply took a few days off to rest at home. One day, while I was half asleep, I faintly sensed someone approaching. When I opened my eyes, I saw a familiar face. Owen touched my cold hands, looking anxious. "Stella, are you feeling unwell? Let me take you to the hospital for a checkup." Okay, in the past, I would have playfully thrown myself at him, seeking warmth in his embrace, but now, I withdrew my hands from his and hid them under the covers, mumbling, "It's just a common cold, no need to go to the hospital." Owen didn't notice my resistance and shook his head helplessly. "Why didn't you tell me you caught a cold? We're about to get married. Why be so formal with me?" Hearing the word marriage, my foggy mind gradually cleared. Marriage, right, he is indeed married. I glanced at the cardboard box in the corner and said softly, "You're right, since we're getting married. You should take your things back today. We don't live together, but he occasionally stays here for short periods, so there are quite a few of his personal belongings at home." The day I returned from the hospital, I packed them all up. Owen didn't notice anything amiss, his face showing a smile. "All right, we'll be moving to the marital home after the wedding anyway." I didn't respond to his remark. That evening, Owen made me a warm bowl of century egg and lean pork congee before gathering his things to leave. Watching his retreating figure, I softly said, "Don't come over for the next while. I've caught a cold and don't want to pass it to you. Just stay home and prepare to be the most handsome groom." He found my words rather helpless, but still complied with my request. He didn't visit in the following days, but continued sending me messages as usual from time to time, and I always responded perfunctorily. Time flashed by, and soon came the day of the wedding. I didn't put on Owen. personally designed wedding dress to step into the future I once dreamed of. Instead, I bought a high-speed train ticket to Yunnan for a trip. Just before boarding the high-speed train, the hotel staff called me to ask when I would arrive. I immediately forwarded Julia's photo to her and said, "This is the real bride. I was just helping her rehearse earlier, find her and assist with changing and makeup." After saying this, I blocked and deleted Owen's contact information one by one. Then I removed the SM card and put it in my bag. After completing these tasks, I surprisingly felt a sense of relief. "Owen, I wish you an unforgettable day." Meanwhile, on the other side, Owen had been looking forward to this day for a long time. Upon arriving at the hotel, he was brimming with happiness. Rams's mother, seeing this, felt somewhat helpless but still reminded him, "Take it easy later, don't go overboard. Julia is emotionally sensitive right now, so don't break her heart." Mentioning Julia, Owen's smile faded slightly. "I understand. Mom, from now on, be nicer to Stella, don't let her notice anything unusual." Mrs. Ramsey sighed and nodded in agreement. Soon, the wedding ceremony began. Owen didn't know why, but a bad premonition welled up in his heart. He looked around anxiously but couldn't spot my parents anywhere. Little did he know, on the day I planned to escape the wedding, I had already told my parents everything. Now, unable to see any trace of them, an inexplicable panic began to rise in his heart. Just as he was about to ask if anyone had seen them, the MC announced the start of the ceremony. He could only patiently wait in place. But when he saw Julia walking towards him in a wedding dress, the smile on his face froze completely. His whole body turned pale and weak, his lips trembling as he said, "Why is it you? Where is Stella?" Before Julia could say anything, a man in a delivery uniform walked in carrying a gift box. Shouting loudly, "Who is Owen? I have a wedding gift here from Stella. Please sign for it." As these words fell, the entire room erupted in commotion. Everyone knew the two protagonists of this wedding were Owen and Stella. And now, though I wasn't present, I had sent a wedding gift. Owen heard his words with vacant eyes, as if all his soul had been drained away. Stumbling towards the delivery person, he didn't sign for it immediately, but first opened the cardboard box. The moment he opened it, the first things he noticed were the hardware tools and a bank card containing the betrothal gifts inside. Seeing what was inside, helplessness and despair gradually consumed his heart. He tried to force a smile, but it looked more painful than tears, his eyes brimming with moisture as his voice cracked with emotion. "She called off our engagement. Stella doesn't want me anymore. Why doesn't she want me anymore?" His hands trembled as he clutched the gift box, repeating the question in broken whispers, yet no one present could give him the answer. Rams's mother, sensing something was wrong, quickly came over. She was about to say something when she heard his words, and then there were the items placed inside the cardboard box. Her anger flared up instantly as she scolded, "This is the wonderful girlfriend you found, running away on the wedding day, humiliating you in front of so many people." As she spoke, her gaze drifted toward Julia Bennett not far away, her expression softening. "But this might be for the best. You and Julia can go ahead with the wedding, after all. You've already registered your marriage. You're legally husband and wife." "Mom." Before she could finish, Owen interrupted her angrily, his eyes reddening as he gritted his teeth. "The only one I love is Stella. So what? Just because you love her, you're going to abandon Julia? Don't forget, she's carrying your brother's only child." No matter how unwilling he was, Rams's mother forced him to endure and complete the wedding. When I arrived at my destination and finished freshening up, I was about to look for a nearby restaurant with good reviews. Unexpectedly, my finger slipped, and I ended up scrolling through my social media feed. At first glance, I saw Julia's new post from just 2 minutes ago. She shared 2 photos, one of a wedding room decorated with the character for happiness, and another of a screenshot showing her updated contact name. She had changed Owen's name from his original one to baby's dad. The caption reads, "What a pity our baby hasn't been born yet to witness mommy and daddy's happiest day, but will continue to be happy from now on. Looking forward to the journey ahead, dear father of our child." Seeing this post, my expression darkened. Just as I was about to exit, I noticed Owen's comment, just a simple, This could be considered a silent acknowledgement of how she addressed him. The child's father. Looking at this form of address, I find it increasingly ridiculous at this moment. I suddenly want to know, what expression would he have if he knew we once had a child together? I clicked on his profile picture, intending to remove him from the blacklist, but after careful consideration, I decided against it. If I'm going to let go, I should do it completely. I spent a delightful week in Yunnan before leisurely purchasing my return ticket, but just as I was returning home and reached the doorway, I happened to run into my neighbor who was about to leave. A flicker of surprise flashed in her eyes when she saw me, and she said with a smile, "You're finally back. Your boyfriend has been going crazy trying to find you all this time. He's been waiting by the door every day. He just left, so if you hurry, you might still catch him." I shrugged indifferently. "We've already broken up. I don't have a boyfriend. If you see him again, please call the security for me. Thank you." After chatting with her for a few more words, I opened the door and went inside. I changed the locks at home when I left, so Owen couldn't get in. I didn't take the neighbor's words to heart and went about my usual routine of washing up and resting. The next day, I arrived at work feeling refreshed and energetic. As soon as I was spotted, my close colleagues immediately gathered around me. After glancing around, she asked in a low voice, "Didn't you recently take leave to get married? Why would your husband come to the office looking for you? He even told me to contact him if I saw you. Did something happen between you two?" During the days I was away, Owen would occasionally come to the office looking for me. If he couldn't find me at work, he would wait outside my home after hours. Her words didn't stir the slightest ripple in my heart. With a calm expression, I replied, "I took annual leave, not marriage leave. Besides, we've already broken up. From now on, I have nothing to do with him." "What? You two were so in love before, always inseparable. How did you suddenly break up?" "Colleagues are just colleagues. There's no need to share so much personal information." I brushed it off, saying, "We're not compatible." Perhaps sensing my reluctance to continue the topic, she didn't press further. As soon as I finished work and stepped out of the office with my things packed, I spotted Owen's car parked by the roadside. I pretended not to see it and walked in the opposite direction. But then, a familiar voice called out from behind me, "Stella!" Owen shouted anxiously, opening the car door and chasing after me. When he saw my face clearly, his expression overflowed with the joy of reunion. "Stella, you're finally back. I've missed you so much." I avoided meeting his gaze and looked past him instead. Only then did I notice Julia sitting in the passenger seat of his car, smiling at me with raised lips. But upon closer inspection, one could detect a hint of provocation in that smile. Now that everyone knows they're married, are they no longer pretending? Sure enough, before I could even speak, she stepped out of the car. With a worried expression, she said, "Stella, where have you been these past few days? Both Owen and I have been so worried about you, especially Owen. He's been so concerned that he can't even eat properly. Look how much weight is lost. It's heartbreaking to see." "Sounds like you're worried about me, but actually you're secretly provoking me. He's your husband. Feeling sorry for him is your business. What does it have to do with me?" I said nonchalantly. Owen's face paled a shade, his fingers trembled slightly, as if carrying endless heartache. "Stella, from beginning to end, the only one I wanted to marry was you." Hearing this, I felt utterly disgusted. My gaze at him carried a hint of impatience. "Owen, if I don't spell it out clearly, do you really think I'm a fool? You've already registered your marriage with her, yet you still want to hold a wedding with me. What do you take me for? He's married, our relationship isn't legally recognized, and I'd just be the universally despised other woman. What I hate most are those who interfere in other people's relationships. No, Stella, we only have a nominal relationship. There are no feelings between us," Owen anxiously tried to explain. Failing to notice how Julia's expression changed, suddenly, Julia clutched her stomach in pain and cried out, "Owen, I suddenly feel terrible pain in my stomach. Could you take me to the hospital?" Owen froze for a moment, his eyes flickering with conflict. I sneered, "Hurry up and take your wife to get checked out. Wouldn't want your precious son to get hurt." Without waiting for his response, I turned and walked to the roadside, hailing the first available taxi to leave. I thought the matter was settled and I'd never have to see Ramsey family members again. I never expected that when I returned home from work the next day, as soon as I stepped out of the elevator, I saw Ramsey's mother waiting at my door. The moment she saw me, without waiting for me to speak, she immediately knelt down in front of me, crying and pleading, "I beg you, as an old woman, please let my son go. He has a wife and child now, they can't live without him." It was the peak time after work. And the neighbors were also returning home at this hour. After she wailed a couple of times, people in the elevator Ramsey started coming out one after another. Witnessing this scene before me, I couldn't help but stop and watch. From what this old lady is saying, it sounds like this woman is the mistress who ruined her son and daughter-in-law's marriage. Look at how she dresses all flashy every day. Clearly not a decent woman. Who would have thought she's actually a homewrecker? Such a disgrace to our community. How can someone like this live among us? Listening to the murmurs and pointing fingers around me, a surge of anger welled up inside, and I couldn't help but say, "What you're saying is exactly what I want to say. I beg you, please have your son leave me alone and never come looking for me again. I've told him before that he's not the only one for me. If he ever lets me down, I won't hesitate to walk away, just like now. Once I've made up my mind to break up with him, there's absolutely no turning back." As soon as I finished speaking, I saw a figure hurriedly emerging from the fire escape. Owen ran until his face turned red, looking at me with disappointment, gasping for breath as he spoke haltingly. "Stella, was what you just said the truth?" "Yes." I met his gaze directly and said word by word, "I can't afford to mess with you Ramsey people. Please go back to wherever you came from. And I never want to see any of you again." "Fine. Then remember what you said today. Don't you dare pester my son again." Ramsey's mother sprang to her feet, haughtily declaring, "And I won't allow you to cause trouble for my daughter-in-law either, or else don't blame this old lady for being unkind to you." "Mom, stop talking," Owen said angrily, cutting her off with a reprimand. At that moment, my close neighbor pushed through the crowd, shouting loudly, "Stella never harassed your son. It was your son who kept harassing her. During the days she was away, your son stood guard at her door like a stalker every single day. He always asked me about her news, yet never told me they had already broken up. There's a surveillance camera on my door. If you don't believe me, I can show you the footage." With her testimony, those who had viewed me through tinted lenses flashed a hint of guilt in their eyes. Even the silver-tongued Ramsey mother was left speechless, exposed. Owen showed no anger and calmly admitted it. "Yes, she never pestered me. The one who kept pestering was always me." His eyes were filled with helplessness and guilt as he looked at me. Ramsey's mother flushed with anger at him, snorted coldly, and fled the scene as if escaping. Owen still wanted to talk to me, but I spoke before he could. "What I said just now was sincere. I never want to see you again. Please don't come looking for me." After speaking, I ignored his pleas, opened the door, and walked straight in. Just as I finished washing up and was about to tackle the unfinished work, I received several notifications from shopping apps. Out of curiosity, I clicked to take a look, but what I saw was that just a few minutes earlier, another family account linked to mine had purchased a number of baby-related items. Among them were a few sexy lingerie pieces for pregnancy wear. It suddenly dawned on me that I had long ago set up a family account with Owen. Whatever we purchased on the app, we both could see. Seeing these disgusting orders and recalling Owen's pleading expression when he wanted to reconcile, a hint of mockery flashed in my eyes. I clicked into the page and forcibly cancelled the family plan binding. I checked once more to make sure there were no traces left in my phone related to Owen. Before I knew it, the weekend arrived. Worried that I might overthink at home, my neighbor invited me out for some shopping. At the mall, she waved her hand generously and said, "Choose any bubble tea you want. My treat today." We always share good things with each other in our daily lives, and buying each other milk tea is something we do countless times, so I didn't stand on ceremony with her and followed her suggestion to order a cup of milk tea. While we were waiting for our milk tea, a familiar figure suddenly caught my eye. Looking closely, the woman not far away had a figure identical to Julia, but that woman was holding onto a strange man's arm. Before I could get a clear look at her face, they had already entered the hotel across the street. "What are you looking at?" Nothing. It didn't matter whether she was thinking about me or not, so I didn't take this matter to heart, just as I was about to go to sleep at night. An unexpected call from an unknown number shattered my drowsiness. As soon as I answered the phone, an earth-shattering wail came from the other end. "Stella, you heartless wretch, how could you stand by and watch others harm my daughter-in-law and grandson? Give me back my grandson's life." Hearing these baffling words, I was completely confused. Before I could ask, the cries faded into the distance, replaced by Owen's hoarse voice. He said Julia had been bullied by someone and was rushed to the hospital after severe bleeding, and as she was being taken into the operating room, she kept calling my name. This absurd statement made me laugh in anger. Rams's mother insisted I go to the hospital for a checkup. I didn't want to go at first, but remembering Rams's mother's persistent nature, she wouldn't let things go unfinished. I had no choice but to change and hurry over. By the time I arrived at the hospital, Julia had just been wheeled out of the operating room. Tears welled up in her eyes the moment she saw me, her whole body trembling helplessly. Rams's mother was so furious her eyes turned red, cursing and trying to hit me. Owen silently turned and stood in front of me. "She caused the death of your only child, and yet you still protect her like this. Have you forgotten how good your brother was to you before?" "Mom, this has nothing to do with her." "No, it's her. She resents me for taking Owen away. So she wants to harm me and my baby." "Mom, you must stand up for me." Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh in exasperation, yet I realized the figure I saw that afternoon was indeed her. Keeping my composure, I calmly asked, "Are you certain your misfortune has anything to do with me? If you're truly sure, I'll call the police right now." Mentioning calling the police, Julia's expression changed repeatedly as she stammered, "After all, you almost became our Ramsey family's daughter-in-law. For Owen's sake, there's no need to make such a big deal out of this." I sneered, "No, I think it's absolutely necessary to call the police. After all, without reporting it, who can clear my name?" With that, I took out my phone and dialed the police right in front of them. Julia panicked and struggled to snatch my phone. I calmly said, "This afternoon I saw you walk into a hotel with a man. If I call the police now, I can still help you give a statement. I believe the police will quickly uncover the truth of this matter." "No, no, you can't call the police." Ignoring her screams, I resolutely dialed the emergency number. Julia turned ashen upon hearing my words. She thought I hadn't seen her in the afternoon and could luckily shift the blame onto me, so no one would verify whether what she said was true or false. But she didn't expect that while she saw me in the afternoon, I also saw her. After finishing this matter, I was about to leave. The doctor who had performed my abortion earlier happened to come out of the operating room. Seeing me, surprise flashed in her eyes as she asked, "You just had surgery. Why haven't you come for a follow-up in the past few days?" "Surgery? What surgery?" The doctor looked puzzled. "The abortion surgery. She went home the same day after the procedure, and I haven't been able to check on her recovery." As she spoke, her gaze settled on me. "Since you're here now, you might as well get checked. Young women should take better care of themselves." As these words fell, Owen and Rams's mother's faces instantly drained of color. Owen was filled with disbelief, trembling as he asked, "Our child is gone?" I didn't answer him, turning instead to leave with the doctor. I hadn't taken more than a few steps when I heard the sound of someone collapsing to the floor behind me. As I turned the corner and looked back, Rams's mother was sitting on the ground, crying uncontrollably, repeatedly wailing, "My eldest grandson is gone." When I came out of the doctor's office after finishing my examination, I saw him waiting at the door. His eyes were bloodshot, with tears still welling up, as if he had just been weeping bitterly. "Don't you have anything to say to me?" His voice was hoarse beyond recognition. I shook my head. "There's nothing left to say between us. Let's just part ways amicably." "Stella, I still love you. How can you say part ways amicably? I never imagined we would separate." His voice trembled with tears and despair. "But from the moment you married Julia, it was destined we would part. Don't tell me you married her just out of duty. There are many ways to care for someone. Marriage isn't the only option. Stella, I truly had no choice but to marry her. My brother is gone. The child would grow up without a father and be easily bullied. And Julia is an orphan with no parents to support her. How could she raise a child alone? These words sounded particularly ridiculous to my ears, but I couldn't laugh. Yes, it's hard for her to raise a child alone, but have you ever thought about me? If I really went through with the wedding and we had children later, what would that make me and our child, just because her life is difficult? Does that mean ours wouldn't be? Owen, your so-called love is too cheap, I can't afford it. Please, I'm begging you, just let me go. Okay, I'm giving up this child. Firstly, because I don't want him to live with the stigma of being illegitimate, and secondly because I don't want him to one day ask why his father has two families. Owen teared up upon hearing this, still unable to make a choice between his widowed sister-in-law and me. I couldn't be bothered to argue with him and turned to leave. Before long, the police filed a case and began focusing on investigating the truth of the matter. Just as the police were making some headway in their investigation, a tall man barged into Julia's hospital room and, ignoring her screams, slapped her twice. "You damn bitch, how dare you call the police? Have you forgotten how slutty you were when you seduced me? Now you dare to report me for rape? Believe me, I'll send all those videos of us to everyone. If you make my life hell, I'll make yours worse." Julia was slapped hard twice by him, stammering as she tried to explain. Blinded by rage, he couldn't hear a word she said, growing angrier by the second. "You bitch, you think marrying Owen means someone's got your back now? I'll tell him right away. The baby you're carrying is mine. Let's see who'll still protect a whore like you." Julia flashed panic in her eyes, shaking her head desperately, begging him to stop. Little did he expect that his words were clearly heard by Owen and Rams's mother standing outside the door. Rams's mother, furious, rushed into the ward and, taking advantage of Julia's momentary confusion, slapped her across the face, shouting angrily, "You wretched woman, because of you, my precious grandson is gone. Give me back my grandson." Thinking that because of her, she had lost her real grandson, overwhelmed with rage, her eyes rolled back, and she fainted. Owen originally wanted to settle scores with Julia and the others, but upon seeing this scene, he hurriedly called for a doctor. After a series of examinations, Rams's mother was diagnosed with acute stroke and would have to spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair. Upon hearing this news, Rams's mother shed tears filled with regret from the corners of her eyes. While Owen proposed divorce to Julia, Julia refused, clinging stubbornly to the marriage. This time, Owen didn't give her another chance. He secretly gathered evidence of her infidelity during the marriage, filed for divorce directly, and left her with nothing. When I learned about this, I felt a pang of sympathy. But that was all. We're all adults here, and we need to learn to take responsibility for our own choices. No one is exempt. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So feel free to share your opinions, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great stories. We'll see you in the next video.